This cheese warehouse was once located in Landsmeer. It was owned by the Goede family for generations. The White Warehouse, or Witte Pakhuis as it was called, held an average of around 15,000 cheeses. They were not produced in the warehouse itself. This was done in a cheese factory known as de Goede Verwachting, or Great Expectations, in the town of Workum. They were then taken by boat across the former Zuiderzee to the Witte Pakhuis. Here, the soft young cheeses were placed on shelves. This had to be done with care, otherwise they could burst open. The warehouse was where the cheeses were allowed to dry. That may sound simple, but it involved a very precise process. If the cheeses dried too quickly, they could crack. By opening shutters and doors at the front and back of the warehouse, just the right flow of wind could enter and leave the warehouse. The cheeses were turned every day until they were firm enough not to sag anymore. The surfaces of the cheeses were oiled on a regular basis. This layer of oil protected them from mold and kept their rinds supple. In the Witte Pakhuis, a close eye was kept on the cheeses to make sure they didn't get nibbled, and a cat in the warehouse protected the cheeses from mice and rats. The cheeses were also regularly checked for the presence of any cheese maggots or cheese mites. Checking the cheeses involved tapping them. By tapping with a little hammer, you could hear if they contained any holes. There should be no holes in an Edam or Gouda cheese, especially if they were intended for connoisseurs. Once the cheeses had matured, they were cleaned. The cheeses were turned in a cheese scraping machine, and the dirty layer of oil on the rind was removed by hand with a long knife. After scraping, the cheeses were immersed in paraffin. A label was pressed into the paraffin while it was still soft. The cheeses were then weighed and graded. Any rejected cheeses were sent to the cheese cellar in Landsmeer. The approved cheeses were packed and taken to their destinations by boat. The cheeses were sold in many places. Cheeses ripened in the Witte Pakhuis were even enjoyed in New York, Cuba, and the former Dutch East Indies.